In this segment, we'll show how just a little bit of light is often all that you'll need. The beauty of a reflector or some continuous lights, which I'll talk about later, is that you can see its effect.
How much sunlight should you reflect? Well, because a reflector is a WYSIWYG device, meaning what you see is what you get, you can see just how much light you'll need. Bouncing sunlight off of just the corner of the white side of my reflector, that was all the light I needed. This is the image before adding light. It's sort of okay, but the light is a bit high and blue. And placing the reflector so a small corner kicks sunlight makes it just right. Here I put more of the reflector in the bright sunlight, catching too much light, causing her to squint, and making the background too dark. Again, because we're working with strong light, it's easy to see when we've got just enough or too much. We want reflected main light to be at a height that's pleasing for the face. I'll show the wrong and the right way to do that. In this before image, she was in shade and the light was just too flat for an attractive result. So I used the white side of my reflector to bounce sunlight back to her face. But as you can see, her eyes still look lifeless. That's because the reflector is partly in shade, and sunlight was hitting the reflector too high. What's a good position for light on the face? Well, it's hard to go wrong with light that comes in from a 10 o'clock position or from a 2 o'clock position. That's high enough to make the shadows fall nicely, while not being too high that we lose the catch lights in the eyes. Catch lights are not only an indicator of the proper light height, but also give a sparkle of life into the eyes. I usually like the middle of the main source of light at that 10 or 2 o'clock position. As you can see, we end up with a very nice look to the face. So how do we raise a reflector that's designed to rest on the ground? We'll mount the fuzzy reflector to a light stand. For a way to fasten the reflector to a light stand, I made a simple T-clamp from a Larson universal clamp and a CPVC T-fitting. There are other clamps that you could buy or build to accomplish the same thing. The clamp holds the fuzzy reflector by its handle and mounts to any vertically adjustable part of the light stand. Next, I'll show an example of when it would be used. With sunlight as a backlight, there wasn't enough light on this girl's face. Not only is her face too dark and without a direction of light, but her hair is blown out by the sun. We could expose for her face or her hair, but then one or the other will be improperly exposed. Let's see how it would work with a fuzzy reflector on the ground. We'll use the white side because we're reflecting strong, hard sunlight, and we want to reflect the softest light. With the reflector sitting on the ground, see the deep eye bag shadows and the highlights on the low surfaces of the face? That's because she's standing and the light from the reflector on the ground is coming from too low of an angle. Now the fuzzy reflector can be placed higher than it would be if it were in its normal position on the ground. This is the kind of light I was after. And here's a before and after of low light and the higher light.
This is the kind of problem we get when they smile with a light that's lower than their face. So if you do have a low main light, keep the expression subtle.